Yo! You beautiful motherfuckers. Episode 40 of the Bull-NA-ChinaShop podcast. The first and only, right now, the only podcast dedicated to the bull breeds and the American bully lifestyle. Now, this week, it is on the 10s, episode 40. So it is a questions from the listeners episode. We have a few questions. I have a few questions that have built up since episode 30 till now. So we'll get to those eventually. But we also have a guest this week, Christopher James. I advertised it yesterday on my social media. BTK, the new president of the BBC, the Bull Breed Coalition, the original Shorty Bull Registry, and founder of, well, we'll get into that, the Shorty Bull Breed Club also. So we'll get into that. But so we have a few questions for BTK, and then I have a few questions also that we'll get into after we're done talking about the BBC. First and foremost, welcome back, friend of the podcast, recurring guest, Bully the Kid, Christopher James. How you doing, sir?
Man, I'm feeling good. I feel a little nervous after that threatening opening of spewing BS into the microphone. I'm gonna have to let all your listeners know who are fans of Bully the Kid. Now with this new hat I'm wearing, I'm going to have to refrain from my 1 or 3 curse words I like to say during the podcast. So I'm gonna have to refrain this episode, just so they know that. I mean, I know they wait for those punchlines. You know, I hit them with a zinger occasionally to go from PG to PG-13. I never quite flirt with R, but today I'm gonna have to be a little bit more, more generalized for the public.
What would be R? Like pussy hole? If I said pussy hole?
Whoa. I don't say that word, nor do I agree with its use.
But I'm just saying, as an example, sure would that be an R?
I think that would be heading towards NC-17.
Oh, remember so that's over R. That's deeper than R.
I remember the movie Showgirls came out and it had that NC-17 rating, and I knew I had to be there at that point as a little frisky middle schooler. I knew if I saw NC-17, there would be a little bit of action,
right?
You know what I mean, on the screen.
Right.
So that was it, man. That was it. So definitely, I'm happy to be back on the podcast. Happy to be back in the China Shop, man, and discuss anything and everything. Whatever you got for me, I'm excited to answer the questions and see where it goes.
I don't think you're going to have a problem with the spewing bullshit. Also, you don't have a problem with me calling out the bullshit that you if you do spew anything. So I think we'll be fine on that. And my whole point behind that is I feel like some of the comments and private messages that I've received, I feel like people think that this is one of those shows where we just pat each other on the dick and stroke each other's ego and everything works out fine at the end. We haven't got into any real discussions yet, and I feel like that has kind of thrown some people off. Trust me, shit is going to get deeper the further we go down this podcasting rabbit hole. Okay, we're going to have some debates and some disagreements. We just haven't got into any topics that we really, as far as me with the guests or the guests and I, however you want to fucking say that. We just haven't got any real deep discussions yet, as far as where you would need a debate to come or need to have an argument about something. But it will happen, I'm sure.
It will. And people need to understand that there's a difference between an interview and a debate. You know, if there's a topic and you bring on a guest to discuss a specific topic and there's two sides or two different variables or multiple variables, you're going to get more heated conversation than an interview. I think without a doubt anyone that knows Ty Lumley knows that he has no issue disagreeing. He has no issue stating his opinion, whether it differs from someone else's. So it definitely will happen. I look forward to listening to your podcast when it does, and even today, I feel that there's going to be things that are said that will be questioned, and the audience will get their answers. Without conflict, I don't think you can have resolution. I believe that they go hand to hand. So
Yeah.
That's the way it works.
There's a difference between having an argument with someone and debating someone on a topic.
Correct.
You know, you and I have had many. I feel like we've had arguments and debates, but we've had many debates where we could kind of come to a middle ground at the end of it. And we've also had arguments to where we completely disagree and are passionate about our stance on things. It doesn't mean we don't like each other. It doesn't mean there's a personal issue. It just means we disagree. We have an opinion. Everyone on the planet is entitled to their fucking opinion. We have those opinions and we disagree about it. It doesn't mean... I'm not just saying with you, Bully. I'm saying anybody that comes on. If we're arguing, if we disagree about it, trust me, I'm not taking it personally. Unless you let me know that there's a personal issue, there's not gonna be anything taken personally. Even if you tell me to fuck myself on the air, I have no problem with that. That's called progress where I come from. So.
Yeah, definitely. And that goes to say about a lot of things. You know, I told people recently when everything's been going on in the Shorty Bull world and with the BBC and things like that, you know, they're like, well, how do you not deal with these individuals that disagree with you? Everyone has a right to an opinion. Not everyone is going to like me. Not everyone is going to fall over when I walk by and say, oh, I bow down to Bully the Kid. They're not going to do that. There's going to be individuals that don't like me. I accept that. It doesn't change my day. It doesn't change my bank account. It doesn't change the fact that my kids are gifted and doing well. Like, it's just that's that person's opinion.
Right.
I think as adults and people, we need to start being able to see that and remove people that are not going to be a positive source of progress from our lives. But that doesn't mean remove people that disagree with you.
No.
Because those people that disagree with you could very well be the lightning rod that helps you grow, because they're going to make you see something from another side of opinion, and
right.
you can get that opinion and be better, and that's what everybody should do.
Yeah, I feel like people that aren't afraid to voice their opinion either sometimes are like the catalyst that a group of people or a community needs sometimes, you know? So
yeah, without a doubt.
I like to consider myself a catalyst in a lot of situations. Sometimes I say stuff just because I know that no one in the room is going to agree with that statement, you know? Sometimes that's just the fun of it. It's just sometimes you have to say some things and ruffle feathers to really get a discussion out of people. You know, sometimes you really got to hit some trigger buttons to get some information out of people or get their real opinion and get through the facade sometimes that people put on when they're in front of certain people or they're at an event. You know, you definitely don't want to alienate anybody or make anybody feel uncomfortable asking questions or making statements, but sometimes making someone uncomfortable is the only way to get a real response out of them.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
But I think, okay, so let's, all that shit aside, all I want people to know is I'm open to have a discussion with anybody and everybody, but people that come on the show need to know it's not gonna be unicorns and rainbows with a pot of gold at the end of that motherfucker every time. I mean, most of the time we're gonna have a good day. Sometimes we're gonna get into an or a debate or a argument, or I'm gonna tell you that I feel like that's bullshit, and you could tell me you feel like what I'm saying is bullshit, and we're gonna go about our days and everything will be okay. Is what I'm saying. There will be no personal issues or feelings in the shop. That is not allowed. Leave your feelings at home because I don't care about them. That's my whole point. Okay.
Gotcha.
So you touched on it a little bit a few minutes ago. What is going on? Just kind of start at the beginning as far as the big changes, because there's some major changes going on within the Shorty Bull world, within the hierarchy of let's say the BBC, which to me the BBC that's the original Shorty Bull registry. That to me is the governing body as far as Shorty Bulls go. So anything that goes on in the BBC definitely, you know, it's the ripples from that are felt all the way to the edge of the pond, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Just start at the beginning. Like, what the fuck happened, and like what set this whole process in motion, and then I know there was backlash from it. You know, I heard, I've got messages all week where I haven't been able to pay attention to shit. I've been so busy. But I know there was backlash from it too. So just start at the beginning and tell me what the fuck happened, man.
Well, you know what? I think a lot of us aren't able to relate to. Excuse me, as you know, my phone is forever ringing. A lot of people aren't able to relate because we're not part of something for a long time. So what I want to say when I say that is this: in our community right now, with people that are in these dogs, you know, and I know, people get out within 5 years. To be an OG in the American bully world, or the show world, I don't want to say American bully, I just want to say the show world in general, is a very short amount of time. Most people don't last a decade breeding dogs. Most people don't last a decade going real hard and heavy. When we speak about the BBC, and we speak about Jamie Sweet, who, you know, of course, is the founder of Blue River, one of the creators of the Shorty Bull, along with Amy Krugman. I think that she's done it now for 20 years, you know, and she's been in dogs longer than that. I don't want to date the woman, but, you know, when you start pushing around 40 years or 4 decades of being involved in dogs, there becomes a point where it's a breaking point as your life changes and you have grandchildren and, you know, you're